Thanks for having what you put together here. I think is awesome. And mastermind type of deal here, holding each other accountable. It's definitely required in this business, right? So I congratulate you. I think you're doing awesome with the group you put together here. So
Appreciate it.
but yeah, no, I started off in 2017. So I kind of got in a little bit early with the wholesaling. And I didn't really get into wholesaling to get into real estate per se. It was more like I was just trying to start a business. Before I did wholesaling, I was actually pressure washing, door knocking, just like trying to get it. I had my second kid coming on the way, and I was just like, all right, I need to figure something out. Before that, I worked on like tugboats. I was always going. I got my captain's license, and I thought this, but the more I kind of worked with the people I was working with, the more I looked up to the people that were, where I was going. I was like, that's not what I want. Like, so I gave everything up with the boat license and with working offshore and all that stuff. So I just started getting it on my own. Started door knocking, started pressure washing. I had a little pressure washer back in my truck, and that was it. And I just saw that the money wasn't really there. So I was like looking for other things. I tried lawn care. I tried painting houses. and and then I came across wholesaling, and I was like, man, this looks interesting. So I didn't really get into wholesaling for real estate per se. I got in it to build a business. And so I always kind of had that mindset coming in. And I always knew I wanted to build a team. So and obviously I didn't know how to do any of those things. So it's just adapting a value of continuous growth, continuing to learn every day, grow a little bit better every day. Became just reading every day and just trying to figure it out. YouTube Academy. I never had a group like this, and was just trying to figure it out. Started putting out bandit signs. I saw a YouTube video about bandit signs. So it took me 6 months from the time I heard about wholesaling to actually close a deal. 3 months of that was me not taking any action. It was me just learning and reading and YouTubing and all that fun stuff. 3 months of that. And I was talking about it to everybody around me, my family, my friends, and they were like, when are you going to do this thing you keep talking about? Like, you keep talking about it, just do it. So I started taking action. I ordered 500 bandit signs from a place called UZ Marketing. I just went big, and I still use them today. Actually, I still do bandit signs. They still work. um, but I started putting out 100 bandit signs a week. 100 bandit signs a week, and I would go out with some friends, middle of the night, Friday night, Thursday night, and I would go put out 100 bandit signs. It would take me, anywhere from 4 to 6 hours, and we would just go run around. And calls started coming in, and I was like, okay, what do I do now? So, I just learned from taking action. I think, in all that 3 months of education, it helped a little bit, but really where I learned was taking action, picking up that phone and having those conversations. I didn't have a script. I didn't have anything, and ended up getting some leads in, going on appointments, and finally got that first deal under contract. I had no clue what I was doing. Reached out to another wholesaler that was in my market, and he helped me close my first 10 deals. After and he knew like we were just kind of JVing, and one day I kind of wanted to go on my own. He knew that from the get-go, and he helped me with my first 10 deals. And we JV'd all those. And after that, I continued to kind of take that collaboration over competition mindset that I learned from him. And you know, and that helped me a lot. Like in 2019, 80% of my deals were JV deals. And we did almost 400 grand in revenue. And that was mainly from JV deals without really any marketing costs. And I think it's from that. That was gross. And I had a little bit of a team in place.
But you got your half of.
Yeah. Yeah. That was my half. Yeah. Of the JV deals. Yeah. And that was 20.
In 1 year?
What's that? Yeah. That was 1 year.
And how many people did you have working for you at that time?
I had an acquisition manager, it's funny. The acquisition at that time, he actually, I hired him to put bandit signs out, and he ended up becoming my acquisition manager because he was just so hungry to figure out what I was doing. And he ended up coming on as acquisition. I had an acquisition, a lead manager that was on a salary, a virtual assistant. I was paying him like 1200 a month. And then I had my acquisition, which was 20%. So I was giving him 20% of all those deals. But he was kind of helping me out with a lot of them. He was going to look at them. He was taking pictures. He was dispoing. He was doing kind of everything at the time. I was kind of focusing a little bit on TC and dispo at that time.
So within that 1 year, you made $400,000 in your assignment fees, and then you just
Yeah.
pay out your people from there.
Yeah, and I was paying my guy 20% out of that,
Crazy.
out of those deals. And he was locking up a lot of those too. Like at one point we were just text blasting wholesalers. I had a list of every wholesaler in New Orleans, and we would do a text blast like every week. Like, hey, you got any deals? What do you have? Do you need help? Um, and my acquisition manager was kind of working most of that process. And I just had people reaching out to me too, just like, hey, I got a deal. What do I do with it? And just helping them out, helping them run the numbers, go and look at the property, take pictures if we have to, and helping them dispo that deal. Because from the very beginning, I started building buyers. Like that's an ongoing, never stopping thing. Oh, if you're in one market, I think having that massive buyers list is super key. I'm guessing most of you guys are virtual, or okay. Well, yeah. I mean, I've been locally wholesaling in my backyard. I should say virtually wholesaling in my own backyard all this time. I guess it was a comfort thing. I don't know. I wish I would have went virtual way sooner. We're starting to do some virtual deals now, but we're scaling the team right now to go virtual. But um, I just kind of stayed in my backyard. But the beauty about staying in your backyard too, I mean, I do see some good points in it too. It's like you could kind of do all the things, right? So like not only wholesale, like we do novation deals here, and it's a little bit easier to do that locally because we're like cleaning these properties out and listing them on the MLS. And we know that we have the connections here. Um, JV deals, it's easier. We already have a buyer's list. Uh, what else? Creative deals. We do seller finance, sub twos. We'll pick those up ourselves, and I'll hold those deals. I feel like in other markets, I wasn't ready for that. So now we're just starting to scale out into to do some virtual.
What about do you buy houses in Slidell? Creative finance?
Um, I don't really do much in slide. I've wholesaled a couple deals out there. I know a guy out there that is buying, and he buys some of my deals, and we also wholesale together sometimes too. He's actually a home buyer franchisee, or what's it called? I don't know. It's one of those home buyer wholesale franchises. I forget the name of it though.
Mhm.
But yeah, why you got a deal out there?
Yeah, but it's in a really, really good neighborhood, like around Eden Isles. I forgot the name of the neighborhood, but it's a really, really nice house, and it gets a lot in rent. And I think DH Horton or whatever their name is the ones who built that whole neighborhood. And
Okay.
I have somebody willing to sell that house on seller finance, but the one my Slidell buyer, I showed it to him. He buys a lot. He just doesn't like it because of I think the flood zone, maybe. I think,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. We definitely look at that on deal, flood zone, and that kind of determines like, all right, do we need to knock 10% off of this deal or not?
so 400,000, and then bring us up to speed to where you're at now and what you're doing now with everything.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I just kind of continued to, honestly, I could have been a lot more proactive from 2019 to now, I'd say. In that time frame, I honestly got a little comfortable and a little lazy, I'd say, uh, to be honest, because I had the acquisition, I had the dispo, I had the lead manager, so I kind of had it all set up to generate. We were generating on average anywhere from $20,000 to $30,000 a month every single month for the last couple of years, and we're at that point now.
And it
Um,
was automated for you.
Yeah, it was automated for me. It was, we had the Podio set up. We had all the systems. We had all the calls coming in, lead managers setting up my acquisition on appointments. in-person appointments.
So as far as you, the owner, you weren't, I remember being on the phone call and you telling me this, but I want them to hear it. You got to a point to where you automated and delegated most of the things and you didn't have to really do anything at all.
Yeah.
You were just living your
Yeah,
life
I
and
got to
getting
that
20 or
point.
30 grand a month or whatever.
Yeah. Where we were bringing in $30,000 on average, 20 to $30,000 on average a month, consistently. In some months were 60 grand, some months were zero, so just so you really got to know how to manage the money at that point. But have that marketing budget set to the side. I read a good book called, uh, what's it called? Somewhere in here. It's a Mike Michalowicz book, Profit First. I don't know if you guys ever heard of that book, but
hold up, we got to write that down. I got to write it down. You said it.
yeah, that's a good book once you start getting some consistent deals.
What is it book called?
Profit First.
Profit First.
Yeah, and honestly, the ideology of it is probably, you can look it up on YouTube. I mean, I read the whole book and I still went back to YouTube. It's because it's so simple. It's really just like, you think about how they used to do it back in the day. You get some money, you have your envelopes, right? You have think about for wholesale, it's like you got your marketing envelope, which is your bank account, your marketing bank account, your operations, and then like your taxes and then you can have a profit account. So like I literally have multiple accounts, and whenever we close, let's say a $10,000 deal, I know I'm putting $1,500, 15%, 20% aside for marketing. That's going in a marketing account. I'm not touching that. I know I need to put a certain percentage in my operations. I know a certain percentage needs to go into tax. And then whatever I have left over, it's like, okay, this is what I have to play with, right? Because it's easy, and it got easy for me. Like, oh, I just closed a $20,000 deal. Like, let's go on vacation. And I was running through money quicker than I should have been. So I had to come up with a process system. It's like, all right, we need to allocate these funds correctly so it's actually running like a business.
Profit
And I'm not
First by
overspending.
who wrote the book?
What's that? What's that?
Who wrote the book?
Oh, Mike Michalowicz. He also wrote a book called Clockwork, which it's like a business operating system. That's a really good one too. You like on designing your business.
Wait, what is it called?
So I really like some of his books. I'm not following Clockwork anymore. I'm following the Traction EOS model.
Like Traction by.
Gino Wickman.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I might.
Yeah, it's orange book.
Yeah, I got it right there.
Yeah, I'm following that model now in business. I kind of always follow that model a little bit, but not to the T, not like I'm doing right now. Like right now, it's my whole business is run off EOS, and we actually have a template inside of ClickUp. I don't know if you guys ever heard of ClickUp. It's like a project management tool, where you could work on high level stuff. Like you got Podio or whatever CRM you guys are using. I use Resimply right now for like actually dialing leads, texting leads, like working inside the business. You have a CRM for that, but you also need a CRM, which I wish I would have figured this out way sooner. You also need a CRM for working on your business.
Really?
And that's more of a project management tool. And that's where something like EOS, the EOS model could come into play, because we use a template inside of ClickUp that has the EOS model built inside of it. So like, our issues list, our quarterly rocks, like I feel like everything everything you do is based on what your quarterly goals are.
Right.
Like if you don't have quarterly goals set, and if you don't have a vision set of where you want to go, like a roadmap, we're all visionaries at the end of the day. We're all entrepreneurs. We want to go somewhere, right? So you got to know where you're going. So you really got to lay that roadmap out, and you got to sit down and figure out where you want to go before you just start going, right? And I do love the progress, not perfection. Just figure it out. And you're going to learn a lot from that in the beginning. I definitely keep it. It gets to a point where you're like, all right, where do I want to go from here? Like, and you really got to figure that out and then break that down to quarterly, like, action steps, right? And then from there, how to plan your day, and what you're kind of working towards.
Yeah. I do
I
want,
think that's super key.
I do want, we just got done reading Atomic Habits, because I
Oh,
think
I
like,
love that one. Yeah.
because that book changed my life, and me
Yeah.
rereading it again for a second time really opened my mind to like how powerful it is again, and how much of my philosophy on life, I think that's the right word. Yeah, philosophy on life comes from Atomic Habits. But I want them to read Traction, but I just feel like for them right now it's probably not as relevant.
Yeah, I was good. I totally agree with you on Atomic Habits. That changed a lot of things for me too. And that I think that book right there kicked me back into gear out of that comfort level that I was in. Because I had some habits that I was just I want to say more like kind of getting lazy. Like I had a habit of just like really not doing much during my day because I kind of had the team going and I'd hop on a couple phone calls, but I was like, is this what I want to keep doing? You know, I had to really sit down and ask myself, do I want to just continue to be lazy and just stay stagnant, or do I want to grow? Especially with the market changing the way it did a little bit, it did affect us a little bit. I was like, all right, well, I need to like 10x this thing. Like let's do something about this, right? Let's get back to work. And Atomic Habit was one of those books that just kicked me back into gear. So, but yeah, I agree too. Traction is probably not necessary yet. I think I just brought it up because I'm so deep in it right now.
It's an awesome book. It's a life-changing book. I still, everything I, just as much as, it's just as powerful as Atomic Habits in a way. Uh, yeah, because it taught me how to have my scorecard, my weekly scorecard,
Yep.
and I teach them how to do that. And
Yep.
the quarterly rocks, and the big thing that I'm working on now, I maybe I do need a retraction again because I'm focusing on putting the right people in the right seat. I've been talking to a lot
Yeah.
of people about that right now. But really quick, you said that there's a CRM for working in the business, and then you said there's a CRM for working on the business, and that's called what? EOS or what?
We started using a software called ClickUp. It's a pretty common, I'm sorry, popular project management tool. And there's a EOS traction template that I ended up finding online, and we just copied that template into our organization and just started. There's like a 30-minute to hour video going over how to use it.
What's the EOS?
But I think that really could. It's what?
What does EOS stand for?
The entrepreneurial operating system. That's from Traction.
Oh, okay.
Traction is Traction EOS. Traction's the name of the book, but EOS is an operating system for your business. It's the entrepreneurial operating system. So you want to have one operating, just like Mac operating system, Windows has an operating system. You don't want to get too many different operating systems in your business, and you might have systems and processes from other models that you don't even know about, right? So it could start getting complex and complicated. You want to stick to one model, one way of doing things, right? When building the business. And that's why it's like I brought up Clockwork earlier. That's a different operating system than Traction. So you don't want to combine too much of the two, you know. So that was a problem I ran into myself. I was trying to do too many of taking too much like little things from everything.
So you're saying ClickUp
That makes
is the one that you use, the CRM, the name of the CRM?
Yes. Yeah, click up and I'll send you the link to the I'll actually send you the link to the template that we use.
So Tyler, so ClickUp is, I mean, like Isaiah was saying, that's a CRM like Podio.
No.
Yeah, but it's for working on your business, not in your business. And I would say definitely in the beginning, you're gonna be working 80, you should be working like 80 to 90% inside your business. Inside of something like Podio or something. What CRM are you guys using now?
So
I'm using Podio.
I teach
I don't know what it.
I teach them the fundamentals of Podio, but once I get them make their first $20,000 month, you know, I'm gonna elevate them to start paying for marketing. And I use Close CRM, best CRM I've ever used in my life, bro. I love Close CRM.
I was about to go to Close and I went to Simply instead.
REI Simply, right? Or is it?
Yeah. I kept saying REI Simply. I don't know. My partner still says REI Simply.
Do you know Chandler
But
Sane?
I think it's RE Simply. That's how it's spelled out.
Do you know Chandler Sane?
Sounds really familiar.
He owns REI Level Up. He teaches people how to go to 100K a month.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Yeah.
anyways, that's my mentor. And he put me
Nice.
he put me
Okay.
on close, and I'm definitely gonna rehire him because I think my mentorship ended like maybe in a few days, but so much value. Actually, so much value. I couldn't I couldn't intake it all. I had to do one thing at a time. Very, very worth it.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I do want to ask some more questions, and then I want everybody else to pick your brain as much as possible. So how are things going with you and Eric Klein? Do you still join his meetings? Do you still talk to him, or what's up?
Yeah. So we actually were using the Eric Klein process, and I started following Eric Klein because I needed a better sales process because the one I built wasn't the best. And I saw that he had a sales process, and it's like I felt like it would be easier to implement in my business with my sales team. And at the time, I just brought on a new acquisition manager, and I didn't want to teach him my old system. I wanted to teach him Eric Klein's. So I did that.
So you mean when you say sales process?
And he was doing.
When you say sales process, you mean the 5-step sales process
Yeah.
of just
Yeah.
the one call close?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I meant by sales process.
Was there any
The sales process I had before wasn't like a one call close or a three call. It was more just like build rapport and you know what I mean? It wasn't like a process like Eric Klein has. That is the sales process, the script and going through that script. And it definitely works. I'm not in the meetings too much anymore. We actually started using a little bit of a different sales process, but it's very similar to Eric Klein's. I started using novation.
Who?
Forget his name, Novation King.
I think I heard of him.
Yeah, he's big on Instagram. I'm trying to think of Richard Wonders.
Richard Wonders.
Yes, I started following. So his sales process is very similar to Eric Klein. That's what I liked about it, except he takes a little more of a consultative approach, which kind of resonates with me a little bit more. I like Eric Klein. I love Eric Klein. I think he's awesome. There's different styles of selling.
Yeah.
And you have to find that, like Eric Klein says, you got to bring your personality to the script, right?
Right. That's what Chandler's saying.
The sales process we're using now is very similar to Eric Klein's. It's actually a 3-call close though. It's the same rentals, fact find all this stuff. Except with the cash offer, we're coming in with a super low anchor, and we're kind of saying, hey, we know this cash offer isn't going to be a good fit. Our underwriters are saying we have to be anywhere from X here to here. However, we do have another option, and we're going for novations. I like doing novation deals better. Our average novation deal is 30,000, and our average wholesale fee is like 12.5.
Yeah.
And it takes a little bit longer to do the novation, but and it does take a little out of pocket expenses sometimes, depending on if you want to clean the property out or not. But that just for my model. But I did use the Eric Klein process, and I did like it, and it was 100 times better than what I had before. So I mean, if that's what you guys, you're on the right path. It works.
And here they use the 5-step sales process, and we always go for the one call close. But me, now that I'm trying to scale my business, Chandler Sane's sales process is kind of exactly like what you're saying. It's kind of like exactly what you're saying. And that's what I use. We don't do one call closes. I have my lead manager, then I'm the acquisitions manager. And there's the lead generation initial talk with my assistant, Amy, who's really just AI. And then they talk to Ian, my lead manager. And then I get on the phone and I close them. And then, I always pitch an ovation at the end if the cash offer doesn't work. So I'm getting the deal locked up either way, unless it's just a retarded price.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, that's awesome. I love that.
So when you say novation, I mean, you're meaning
Posted on the MLS.
Yeah.
Just putting it on the MLS. That, I mean,
Well,
that,
yeah, and yeah, in that sense, I mean, it is a bit of a different transaction. I'm doing one right now that it's basically like we just locked it up over the phone and got it on the MLS. Most of the novations I've done, and people have a different definition for novations. I found out I'm part of sub two. And when I say novation, they think I'm flipping and like spinning, they think I'm flipping the
Innovation is
property.
such a vague word, but
Yeah.
but
Everybody has their own definition, but I've done it in this sense that you're talking about. And where I was able to get it's just some additional all it is additional paperwork to allow you to list it on the MLS on their behalf. And I mean, at the end of the day, it's a limited power of attorney that they're signing. A lot of people call it an attorney in fact, and all these other. It's a limited power of attorney that the seller is allowing you to list it on their behalf, clean it out, do whatever you need to do to get the property sold. They're giving you those powers. So I'm getting a purchase agreement signed. I'm getting a limited power of attorney is what we call it to the sellers. I don't tell them attorney in fact. I tell them it's a limited power of attorney, and it lays out exactly what we intend to do. And then we get the novation agreement, which all that novation agreement is for is to replace my agreement with the new buyer's agreement. That's all that's really there for. Um, so that's pretty much it. And you could do the novation in a few different ways. I could go in there and spend 20 grand if I want to. Like that's an option. And some people do that. I don't do that. I have one right now that it's pretty distressed. It's on the market right now. And we didn't put a penny in it. I have another one that we're going to spend $3,000 on to clean it out, help them move. Maybe do a really good clean out, get a cleaning lady. We have a cleaning lady. She kind of cleans everything, wipes everything down real nice. We're going to get the pictures taken, and then we're going to list it on the MLS. And that's a potential, $40,000 deal. So I don't mind spending, two or $3,000 to do that. And that's how I'm doing my novations, and that's how I've done the previous ones. I've always spent a little bit of money to get them looking good, so I can. It's almost like I'm wholesaling, almost without closing on the property. That's kind of what I'm doing here. Are you guys familiar with wholesale at all? Where you like taking it down,
Yeah.
private money? Yeah.
yeah. So novation. I mean, and I know I asked a bunch of repetitive questions.
Oh, you're good, man.
I mean, but everything in a nutshell, like if and because the word novation just kind of, I don't know. But anyway, novation is just putting it on the MLS and then doing whatever we have to do to get the property to up to snuff to put it on the MLS, right?
Yep.
If we got to come clean it out, we got to, sweep, mop, get a cleaning lady, whatever, right?
Yeah.
But you
I
don't
will.
have to.
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't have to. I just take it and post it straight on the MLS.
Yeah.
You said what,
Yeah.
Isaiah?
I said you don't have to clean anything up though. I just take it and just post it on the MLS. I never go look at it, never see it. I just post it on the MLS.
Yeah. I'll say, I mean, I've never been to any of mine. I've virtually done all of them here. But I had boots on the ground to help. But yeah, you don't need to go do as much as I'm doing. That's actually what we're going for right now. We're transitioning to virtual. We're still going to be doing some local deals. I just hired on a local acquisition manager because my previous acquisition manager, I just moved him up to an integrator role. I'm the visionary. He's an integrator. He's helping me run the whole team. We just brought on a sales manager, commission based. He's worked with Grant. He's worked with Eric Klein. You might know him, Isaiah. His name's Mike. Dude is dude's wild. Super high energy.
Like who?
Mike Hong.
I don't know, but one thing that I'm definitely gonna need, like after this call that we need to talk about is the hiring process. I know Chandler's saying but
Yes.
the best way Chandler's saying talks about going on Indeed and having these interviews, and it is a process, but the best way that everybody tells me to hire for your team who's a hell yes, because if it's not a hell yes, and it's probably a hell no, is people in your network. And bro, I know I've talked to your acquisition manager. I brought him the one of the deals. I brought him like 2 deals or whatever, and I heard him on the phone closing, and like, bro, how do I find that person? Like, how do I find a person like him to join the team who's like,
Yeah.
they want to
Yeah.
grow you the business? Like,
Yeah, it's so hard. That is one of the hardest things in wholesaling is is building that team. And I'm going through it right now, and I had to rip the whole business apart and rebuild it. Like that is the hardest part. Like you could, I mean, you're making your $30 a day, $50 a day, and you have cold callers set up. If you have a couple cold callers that send you leads, and you're doing your $30 a day or whatever, you're gonna do 2 deals a month, right? If you're just consistent, like you're gonna do 2 deals a month, you can live a pretty good life and just kind of do everything on your own. But when you want to go to that next level, like our goal is to do 125 grand a month. Like that's our vision right now, and we're gonna be getting there pretty soon with the team I'm building. I mean, I could show you my organizational chart and what we're building right now. And
Hey Tyler, not to cut you off. So you said
Yeah.
if you got 2 wholesalers, I mean 2 cold callers, and they're calling what, 1,000 leads a day or 1,000 prospects a day, you're saying you should be able to close at least 2 deals a month?
yeah, I mean, we had 3 cold callers, two or three cold callers, and that was all we were doing for a minute, and we were doing 2 deals a month, um, just from those leads that were coming in, but they were already kind of pre-qualified, and we were just going through those leads and
Res
and
Cold
locking them
Call?
up.
Are you talking about Res?
Yeah, yeah, I still use Res.
Yeah, I'll put you on, Ken. I was telling him about that, and I'm about to integrate Res, but I need a
What is Res?
scale. It's a cold
A call center.
call center, but it's a,
Call center.
I'm gonna put you on.
Mm.
I mean, I was already planning on putting all y'all on to all the free game, but yeah, I think Ken is at a point right now, and Ken is at a point right now, like I remember being in his spot. I'm sure you've been in his spot before. It's like, we're all beginners in here to a certain degree. And, I teach free marketing, don't pay anything for marketing, Zillow, because there's so many benefits of doing that, especially when you don't have any money. You're learning sales, you're learning marketing, you're learning the foundation of a wholesale business.
Love that.
And sometimes, it is one of the absolute hardest ways to wholesale, because you're not paying for marketing, and you're dealing with people who have talked to maybe 1,000 amateurs before you, and they're pissed off, all this other stuff. But now Ken paid this other guy, and Ken will tell you, I'm not saying that he is not good, but he sold him. You told me that he sold you on his program, and I'm like, I'm real as I always say, bro, I'm the realest one in this wholesale space. Like, I'm not a guru. So I'm telling Ken, bro, go for it. But make sure that you give it your all. Whatever you do, give it your all. And so now I just noticed Ken is in this spot of like, he's trying to find what works. He's trying to look at, does this work? Does this way of wholesaling work? Does that way of wholesaling work? And to be honest, they all work. It's just,
Yeah,
you gotta
yeah.
like go all in on it. And so I could
The
tell
one thing.
yeah, so by him telling you, like, the question that Ken just asked just now was like, wait, so you got 2 cold callers, and it's him basically saying, so it does work, like it works. I could, like, bro, it works.
Yeah,
It's just a matter of
yeah. You
time.
just gotta trust the process and
Yeah.
pick the one thing, and like that was something I struggled with in the beginning. I told you guys, I said, I started putting out bandit signs. That's not 100% true. I started putting out a little bit at first, like handwritten, and it was a little bit. It was like maybe 10, right? And then I was doing a little bit of direct mail. I was printing out direct mail, stuffing envelopes, and I was doing a little bit of both, and I wasn't getting any results. And I said, I watched a podcast from a guy named Tom Kroll. I don't know if you guys know him, but that was like one of my mentors. He's not in the game, but he Brent Daniels, and he taught Cody Hoffine, and he taught all those guys. So I learned from him. He said, "Man, you got to pick one channel, and like be the best at that channel. And I said, I'm going to be the bandit sign guy. I started going to meetups, and some of the guys speaking were like, who's the guy with bandit signs everywhere? And like, they started saying, I'm the bandit sign guy. I became that guy, and I was getting all the deals. I was getting all my deals from bandit signs. And then once I hired someone to start putting signs out for me, then I focused on direct mail. So it's, master that one thing, delegate it, move on to the next. So pick one thing that works and just stick to it. It's going to work. But if you're doing a little bit of this and a little bit of that, you're not going to get anywhere. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I'm just kind of like, I mean, Isaiah said it best. I'm trying to figure out like what works. I know it all works, but I'm just like bouncing around.
It's hard to
like a
believe
ping
that
pong
for-
ball. I'm going from side to side. Like, okay, does this work? Does like, man,
Yeah.
I've had some success, and it was a good amount of success. But it's like now I'm just like I'm still in neutral, right?
Yeah.
And I haven't hit drive yet,
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It sounds like you're at where I was at. I remember, like in the beginning, I said there was 3 months of me just like I was learning a lot. I was kind of doing a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and then it was 3 months. It took me 6 from the time I found out about wholesaling to get a deal. 3 months, like I said, was me just kind of playing around, not doing, like kind of doing a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and then it was 3 months of me just being proactive on one thing. I was just like, this is all I'm doing, and then that's when things started rolling for me.
So 6 months
Just
to get your
focusing on
first
one.
deal.
Yeah, it took me 6 months to do a deal.
Yeah, and that
My first deal.
That exactly reminds me of when I went to Houston. I gave everything up. I left everything behind to go to Houston and chase my dreams, and the dream was to build a multi-million-dollar business. 3 months of it was me figuring it out. I was doing cold calling and all this other
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
And then I found out, as a business owner, you have to problem solve, figure out what's working, what's not working, and analyze what results are coming from where. And when I found out that, or I analyzed that all of my contracts that are potential real deals are coming from Zillow, I stopped
Yeah.
everything and I just went on Zillow. And
Yep.
that formula that I found out that I know works, I give it to all them. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's really all it is finding that mentor. And Isaiah's the mentor, he's done it, he's been through it, and it's just like follow the footsteps, and that's gonna get you to where you want to go the quickest. That's for sure.
Is there
Yes, sir.
something that anybody else wants to ask Tyler about anything?
Can you share a time when like a deal fell through and what you learned?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've had a bunch of deals fall through. Um, you know, I think one of them that hurt the most was I actually got a bad review on Google, which, sucks. And it was really just, I think, growing pains at the time. Like I was focusing too much on trying to scale my business. Like there's an allocation there of how much time you should be spending on your business, and there's a time allocation you should spend in your business. I was always one that spent way too much on, which that could be a bad thing too. That's not a good thing. And I think that balance there is like, especially in the beginning, it's like 90% doing, maybe 10% of your time you want to actually be designing. I call it doing and designing. My designing was like through the roof. Like I always wanted to be a designer of the business, and that pulled me away from like important deals that were going on, and stuff would fall through the cracks because I was just too focused on the future versus like, let me get this done right now. Like I'm like super visionary that I see so far in the future that I'm like, I forget what's going on right now. And yeah, just had poor communication with buyers and sometimes sellers, and just not following up, like just too far in the future for my own good. And I think that's a big lesson I learned is just like allocate that time and really be a manager of your time. And put important things on the calendar. I mean, I could show you guys my calendar right now. It's insane, but I'm gonna put y'all on something awesome. I started using a calendar called Reclaim. It's an AI calendar. Maybe test it out a little bit, Isaiah. Before you roll it out to everybody. But I've been using it, and man, it's been a game changer for me. It's really just like an automatic. It time blocks everything for you, and you can like start putting tasks in there, and it'll automatically kind of move things around. AI is the new wave, right? So
Hey, so hey, so Tyler, so do you? Well, I got a couple questions. The first question is like when you first started out, and it was just you, right? You didn't have a team. You didn't. It was just you. Were you cold calling? Were you? I mean, I know you said you were doing the bandit signs and everything like that. So when you were doing the bandit signs, I mean, were you writing, "Hey, I buy houses. I can close in 15 days," or what did that look like? And then, after you got some motion with that, like, what was the process after, say, you got a seller that called you or somebody called you and was like, "Hey, I got a house for sale at 123 Main Street." How did you kind of get to where you're at now? Because it seems like you're at a point to where, you're pretty comfortable, right? Like you're not stressing about, this, that, and the third, right? So what does that look like?
Yeah, no, great question. In the beginning, yes, I was doing everything. I was handwriting bandit signs. I figured out a way for my printer to mail merge the names and the address on the letters, so yellow letters, so I can fold them up, wrinkle them up, and put stamps on them. Like I was doing all that myself. But I always knew I wanted to delegate it. Like I always had that in my mind. Like one day I'm not gonna doing these things, but I need to do it now. I need to get uncomfortable right now, and figure it out to where I can teach somebody else to do this thing. And like I said, I was doing the signs, and I wasn't doing cold calling. I honestly didn't start cold calling until way too late. I should say I focused on bandit signs and direct mail until the end of 2019. I wasn't doing any cold calling. I tried it a little bit in the beginning. I did not like it at all. I personally just didn't like it. Tried to delegate it. It was horrible. I tried in-house because I didn't know what I was doing. How am I going to teach somebody else? And there wasn't all the education there is now where you can literally just hand this to somebody. But yeah, to answer your question, yes, I was myself until I got to the point where I found something that worked. Then I built a process for it, which is really just a Google Doc saying this is step 1, this is to step 10, how to put out bandit signs. Found someone to do it, and paid them $1 a sign. Here you go. Go put 100, 200 out. Go put 250 out every weekend, right? And then the phone call started coming in, just like you said. Had no clue what to say. Had no mentor. Well, I lie. I kind of had a mentor, another wholesaler, but I mean, he was doing a couple deals. I mean, he might have done 10 deals his whole, and we were just winging it. I was winging everything. I wasn't asking the right questions. I didn't have a script. I didn't have a process. Like you guys have Eric Klein's sales process. If I would have had that in the beginning, oh man, I was just winging everything, going on every appointment, high appointments, meeting sellers. They knew I didn't know what I was doing. I mean, they had to know. I was horrible at negotiating. I had to learn all these skills. I just put in the work, it's continuing to grow and learn 1% better every day. I mean, just like atomic habits, becoming 1% better. That's all you could do is just become a little bit better every day. As long as you're doing that, like you're on the right path. But yeah, I mean, I think just consistency too, just sticking to it and doing what you have to do to get there.
I want to ask a question kind of on behalf of Ken, Charlie, Kevin, and a few other people in here, Jay, we know what it's like in the beginning, but I mean, just give your perspective on how do you do this so we just got done reading Atomic Habits, and one of the most beautiful things or beautiful quotes from the book that stood out to me was, winners, it said something like winners get things done or winners find a way to make it happen. And then it said losers get caught up in the urgencies of life, right? People, real life things happen, stuff happens, people die, people go to the hospital, you got to take care of this, you got to give your mom a ride to work. What would you say to people who are in the beginning who don't have a proof of concept right now? They question if it works a lot of the time. What would you say to them for the people who have life get in the way? Like, how did you handle it? And what would be your advice to them? Life getting in the way, you know?
Yeah, no, I mean, that's a really good question. That's something that affected me a lot in the beginning because it didn't, I mean, up until probably recently, like I kind of allowed a lot of life things like you really got to be, like I was saying earlier, a manager of your time. Like you really do. And I think it's really just getting it on your calendar. Um, I mean, this relates to atomic habits too, like time blocking and getting your habits in place in those things. Because guess what? If that time's blocked out on my calendar, I don't have time. I can't come help. I can't come do what I can't just jump and go to something else that just pops up because I was always the guy that works from home, right? Oh yeah, Tyler's home. He works from home. Yeah, just call Tyler. He could come help. And I was always I was a yes man, right? Oh yeah, I'll come help just because I'm trying to be a nice guy, right? And that pulled me away so much in the beginning. You know, any little thing that popped up, I was jumping to go help. I was jumping to, and I was just trying to be a nice person. But like at the end of the day, you're not time blocking and saying you can show them on your calendar. Hey, look, I got things going on. Like I can't. Like this is all my account. This is all my schedule. I got calls to make. I got to do whatever I got to. Right. This is call time.
What if your kid has to be
So
picked up from school?
okay, so that's a good question too, because I'm actually the one that brings my kids to school. I have 4 kids, by the way. I'm the one that brings them to school, and I pick them up. Um, well, 2 of them.
So you
So
time block something for this next 30 minutes or an hour. And me personally, I take Atomic Habits or the one thing by Gary Keller. My phone is over there. Anything that could, whatever's over there. But let's say you have whatever, you get this call from the principal and you got to come pick up your kid, but you got 30 minutes left in your time block. Then what?
okay, well that's a great question because that definitely branching up. I will jump up and go for something like that probably. You know, if I have to, go do something like that. But like my schedule is really aligned by the life that I want. You know, so I think once you set up those blocks first, then you could start fitting in the work schedule, right? Like my schedule's in the beginning, kids, got some other little personal things, and then 3 o'clock, kids, right? Go get the kids. So everything has to fit. It's like playing Tetris, right? It's kind of you're just trying to fit all the blocks in around your personal life. Because that's the whole reason we get into this, right? Is like to be able to have a relationship with our kids and be able to be home with them and and be with the family more, or whatever. But yeah, I think just building your life around what you want.
But when you have those time blocks, nothing else happens, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah, I
sure
mean, I throw it on a calendar and I just stick to it. I mean, if some emergency pops up, obviously I'm going to jump and go.
I'm sure
Hey, kid fell out of school. All right, I'm running. Right, I got to go.
and we are reading, so we are starting to read this book. This is what we all agreed on. I've never read this book. I really
Okay.
don't even know what it's about, but we are in sales. But the more I'm talking to
Yeah.
you and the more I'm like realizing like my student situation, Charlie did want us to go over this book. I don't know if you've read this
Okay.
before. Cal Newport. Have you read that?
No, but I'm writing that down right now.
You will
Oh,
love this, bro. You will love this
okay.
book. Cal Newport
I'm write it
is,
down.
yeah,
Deep work.
Deep Work
Yeah.
by Cal Newport, like the cigarette.
Yeah, a big thing I'm working on right now is leadership. That's something I didn't focus on soon enough, and I realized it kind of too late.
Yeah.
Because I was, you know, I wish I would have learned more about leadership earlier on. I just being a manager and being a leader, kind of two different things. And I think I realized that a little bit too late. I was trying to be both. Now I'm more of the leadership position, and I put, our current acquisition manager more in an operational manager position, right? Because we're all leaders, we're all visionaries, and I think that's a tool you want to continue to sharpen. And I wish I would have worked on that sooner.
Yeah.
So leadership, I'm reading the 21 irrefutable laws of leadership right now.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah,
What are you reading? What is it called?
21 irrefutable laws of leadership. And it's super. I mean, for me, it's like a required read right now because I am building a team, and I know that's what you got. Like you all want to do that eventually, right? That's the goal. You want to build that team, and I think that developing that leadership tool and sharpening that tool there is going to help out a lot. I wish I would have worked on sooner was learning more about leadership.
My leadership book.
And it just
I was just gonna say.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
My leadership books that I'm reading right now are by Simon Sinek.
Okay, yeah.
You know him?
Which one? Yeah, which one? Which one are you reading?
Well, I have to. James Wells advised me to read Start With Why.
Yeah.
But then
Okay.
the one
I read that one.
the one I wanted to read, which I get Start With Why. I've read I watched all his videos and his TED Talk about Start With Why. But the real one that I wanted to read was called Leaders Eat Last by Simon Sinek. It just grabbed my attention. But I got both of them.
Yeah.
I like when.
Yeah, I felt like Start With Why was more like for, I don't know, big business type of, I don't know. There's something about it that I didn't worth as much as I thought I was going to.
Yeah. Same.
But that other one sounds really good. The
Leaders
Eat Last. Yeah.
Start With Why I didn't finish it because I was like, I kind of get this already. I mean, I get it. It's
Yeah.
about being a visionary and having a reason why, and they can, talk about Apple versus, whoever and things like that. And it is
I think for us, it like just comes naturally. So you read it like, well, I already know this.
I want you guys to get as much value out of him being here. So ask away, anybody.
Yeah.
So Tyler, I mean, I was, Isaiah kind of informed us that you're like, early 40s or whatever, and that's where I'm at. Like I'm early 40s. Got a family, got all the, got the kids, got all these freaking distractions, right? And
Same here, bro.
and I'm trying to be like as locked in, as focused as possible. But I keep having, it's like, and life happens for all of us. I don't care if you're 40 or if you're, 19, 20, right? And so, I guess my question is, so are you working like specifically off of your calendar? Because I'm starting to get a little better at that. Like, okay, I got, 6 follow-ups that I need to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I have to call these people. Like, no matter what, I have to call these people. I mean, I talked to them Monday. Today is Friday. I have to call them. But then you get the phone call that, it's a freaking fire. And I'm saying fire, but you know what I mean? Like it's a fire you got to go put out. How do you deal with that? How do you go deal with that and then come back to doing what you're doing without losing the motivation? Like, cause a lot of times when we're locked in, like after our meetings in the morning, and I'm pretty sure everybody can probably contest to this. You may be locked in, you may take a break after the morning meeting, then you get back to it, say 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, whatever. And then something happens, whether it's mom, whether it's mom needs you to do this for the people that's still living at home with their parents, or it's kids or the wife, or, you know what I'm saying? Like it's something, like how do you juggle that?
Yeah, that's a great question. That's something I've been, oh man, it's been years figuring that one out. I can tell you though, I live and die by the calendar. I have to because of this. Like I said, 4 kids, family always asking for things. I mean, this is my home screen, by the way. I don't know if you guys could see it. It is a widget on my phone that makes my calendar like the size of this is my home screen. I live and die by the calendar. Like I
Wow.
have to. But when I'm not, I'm all over the place. The first thing that pops up, I'm going like I'm all over. But
Right.
now it's like, hey, I'm busy. I could send you a screenshot if you want. Like I'm tied up at the moment. I'm working on this vision that I have here. Like I can't. I literally can't. Obviously, if it's an emergency or something like this, I'm going. Like I have to. Um, but but yeah, I mean, I can't share my screen right now. I wish I could because if you saw my calendar, like there's no white space. I make sure it's completely full. It starts getting to a point where I'm like, why is it empty right here? You know what I mean? And it makes you
Right.
like if you start living by the calendar like that and really time block it, and that's something too. Like I'm continuing to learn about what are the best methods. How can I get better at time blocking? How can I be a better manager of my time? Because that's the one thing that you can't like get back. So we track KPIs, we track this other stuff, but do we track our time? And even my calendar reflects what I did too. So like I'll put things, and if that didn't happen, I'll move it and I'll put what I actually did. So it's a journal too at the end of the day. Like I could see what I did and see what habits I have in place. And if I actually did them or not. It kind of helps me stay
So
accountable.
how do you deal with when there's things on the calendar and you're working off the calendar, but then, I mean, us as entrepreneurs and everything like that, like you don't, yeah, you made your follow-ups or whatever, but nothing happened, right? And then so you got the old lady in your ear, like, when are you getting when are you gonna get another deal?
So this is
When are you?
I
I mean,
don't mean
it's been 3 months. It's been you know what I mean. And you have things in a pipeline that may or may not be a deal,
Yeah.
but you know that you are successfully working on and working in the business like daily. Like you're not sitting around freaking twiddling your thumbs. Like you are calling people. You are on the freaking headset for hours on end.
Can I interrupt?
And but you don't see, but it's not a result.
Yeah.
Like you don't see any result.
I want to interrupt because I knew you were going to say that and I wanted to say it for you in a different way. How do you go about telling especially when you don't have the results? And Charlie's going through this too. And I had a 2-hour, 3-hour long conversation with Charlie about it in great detail. But for you, Tyler, what would you say to we're beginners. We know this works and we believe in ourselves. We have the calendar, we have the things, but how do you go about, I know how I did it, but I want you to answer it. Like at some point, how do you go about telling your family or whoever it is, like having that talk with them and letting them know like what you're doing, what has to be done, and like how important it is to you, and like because I know Ken and Charlie and some other people, they have it's not, you are a good father, I'm pretty sure, a good family man, but sometimes I lived in a toxic household for a long time, and sometimes they don't give a fuck about what you're doing. It's like, nigga, are you bringing money or not? Like, what are you doing? And it's like, so how do you have that conversation or let that know, or what advice because that's life advice. What do you get? What would you say to those types of people, or that question?
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, no, this is great stuff right here because this is real. This is like an actual like this is what we face as entrepreneurs. And I think, at the beginning it's super tough, but I think if you have that vision in place of where you're going, and where you want to be, and you could relay that to the people around you, and it's like, hey, this is where we're going. This is like it might be tough right now, but this is where we're going. And us as visionaries, as entrepreneurs, we have to be able to relay our vision to others because if not, they're not going to believe in us. And if they don't, it's going to make it way harder on us because now they don't care. Yeah, I don't care, you know, whatever, like go get the kids, go do this, go do the things, go jump and go over here because they don't, you know, you got to make sure that you can relay that vision to others. And it starts with laying that vision out, getting it on paper. Where are you going to be in 1 year? Write that down. Write. I like the letter to yourself. It's called the January letter.
Yep.
Write a letter like you're to yourself, like you've already done it. Write that out. That's the vision. That's where you're going. That's the roadmap.
Yeah.
And make sure you relay that to the family around you and the people around you so they know he's working. Like my family knows now. Like Tyler's busy. Tyler's working to get to $125,000 a month in revenue. He's trying to build a virtual wholesaling business. Like he's busy. Don't like by the way, I have 4 kids. Two with one, 3 with one with another. And it's to the point where like they communicate more like because they know I'm busy. They're like, they help with the things at now. Before I was, you know, I was coordinating everything. Now they see a schedule and they're like, Tyler's busy. Like he doesn't have time to think about these things. Like, so let's figure it out because they see the vision. They know where I'm going. And they know I'm doing this for the family. I'm not doing this for me. I'm doing this for all of us.
Yeah.
I'm doing this for the kids. I'm doing this for you. I'm doing this so we can have a good life. And as long as you can relay that to them, like, and as long as you're putting in the work too, like you gotta match the vision with the actions. You're on the phone and they see you working. They like how could they, you know, not believe in you? So that's really what it is getting that vision out there.
I was gonna say I made a whole video on that because you have to do that in the beginning. The video is called "If You're Single, No Kids, Living with Your Parents." This video is for you. Yes, at some point, it's even worse if you do have kids and a wife and a mortgage. You have to be able to first, like you said, write down your vision, and you have to believe in it with your whole heart. And I believe you guys do. But once you do that and you're fully convicted, now it's your job to know how to articulate that to your family. And everybody's family is different. Everybody communicates different. I had to learn how to interact. I had a side note, I had to learn how to not be toxic. So I had to learn how to not argue with my mom. So I knew what things to say to my mom and what things not to say to my mom. Or if I wanted to make a point, I knew how to make it and how to not go about it that might start an argument. So yeah, having the skill, because we're in sales, this is going to help. You have to be able to articulate it to your family. You know your family like the back of your hand. And I talk about in the video, like you got to sit down with your parents one day, like randomly, and you got to look them dead in the eyes, like somebody just died. That's how serious you look. And you're like, Mom, well, this is my conversation. I was like, Mom, I believe in myself. I want to go all in on this. I want to give it a year. And you're just asking for grace. Like, Mom, just give me grace. I know I'm not going to make money at first, but I just want to at least give myself a year to chase my dreams, and I know I could do it. But you know, you still got to please their doubt. So it's like, but if it doesn't work out, if for whatever reason it doesn't work out, I'll go back to getting a job. I'll pay you rent, whatever. But I just want to take a chance on me right now. And sometimes you just have to have that serious talk to, like you said, relay your vision to them, like you're serious as a heart attack. So it sets the expectations like, yes, there's going to be times that you want me to get a job. I'm telling you right now, please give me grace just for this time period. Allow me to chase my dreams because I believe in it with my whole heart. And I do. And also you gotta I forgot what I was gonna say, but that's the main point. You have to articulate the vision to them. Oh, the other thing was, yeah, like I was telling Charlie this, and just like how Tyler just said, if you say that to them and you're talking to them with a serious as a heart attack face, at no point ever during any day until you make your first deal or whatever, should they ever see you resting or bullshitting or like they cannot see that all. Even if you've been working 24 hours and they didn't see it, the 1 hour that they do see is you taking a nap, nigga. They cannot see you not working. You have to prove to them that what you told them, you meant it with your whole heart. And that comes with the sleepless nights. I talk about the sleepless nights I've had, the nights that I've cried, talking to God, just staying up at 3 a.m. I know I have to wake up early, but it's 3 a.m. and I can't sleep because I'm full of anxiety because I just need to make this happen. And that's the shit you got to go through. Yeah, having that talk and relaying that vision to your family, but then also a big part of that, just as big as having that serious as a heart attack conversation, is being very intentional that they never see you fucking off. They cannot see you going out and having a drink. They cannot see you sitting down watching the football game or any of that bullshit. Like whatever, like they can't see it. They have to be convinced.
Yeah.
I thought that's very, very big.
Yeah, that's super powerful.
Yeah,
Good stuff, man.
you can see.
Hey, bro, I'll keep this right in front of me. Napoleon Hill, whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can't be. I keep that right in front of me. That's from Think and Grow Rich. I know Eric Klein likes that book. I think he has it on the back. But that was one of the first books I read, and I think that shifts your mind. It's a really old book. It's kind of a hard read, but I'd recommend listening to the audio on that one. But
yeah, because I was trying to read it, man, and the book is like I don't know, it's like this big, and I call those books like when I was younger, it's like those are college books. I call them college. The print is very small, and it's on like this tan looking paper.
Yeah, and it's written like in the early 1900s.
Yeah, it's like, man, can they blow the print up some and like, I don't know.
Still
yeah, it's
like Atomic Habits was it was a good read, and it was simple to get through. Like it wasn't,
I recommend that read first to anybody. Like anybody that's getting started, or like it's like start with Atomic Habits. Now it was like Think and Go Rich, How to Win Friends and Influence People, Rich Dad Poor Dad, like because that's what got me started. It really was Rich Dad Poor Dad, which is so cliche. Everybody says that. I hate saying that, but but it's true. Yeah. And then that was the first book I read out of like I didn't read in high school. I had bad grades, and I got my GED. Like I didn't go to college. I thought I was gonna go work offshore. Like that was my path, because that's the path my family set for me. Like you're gonna go work for boats because that's what we did. um, so I kind of just was a follower, and I had no like father figure in my life, like no guidance. I just I kind of went down a deep path, in my early 20s, like just not in the best, not doing too well, that time, and I think just opening that book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, just changed everything for me. Like just getting some type of knowledge, getting some type of guidance that I've never, ever had. Right. So it's like, that's what opened me up to reading. Now I got a huge bookshelf. I read every night, 5 pages a night. That's my goals. Like that's the baseline. If I can't hit that, then something's wrong. Right. Every night. And your significant other is going to see that. Your kids are going to see that. That's a legacy that you're leaving for them. They're going to see you reading every day and like, oh, dad reads. Like I should read. Right. I never had that as a kid. Like my parents weren't there and doing whatever they're doing. They had me at a super young age, just like I had my kids at a young age. But I think these books, and just continuing to have that growth mindset, and learn a little bit, get a little bit better every day, is key to what we're doing. So you guys are definitely on the right path. Isaiah's definitely gonna definitely putting you guys on the right path, and going to be a great leader. And I want to see all y'all succeed, and I know y'all going to crush it.
Yeah. Rich Dad Poor Dad was the first book I ever read when I was in jail and I decided to turn my life around. And then How to Win Friends and Influence People and Think and Grow Rich. Yes, those are the 3 fundamental basic books I call them the elementary books. You're level 1, you're in grade school. That's the mandatory read. We got 20 minutes left. I know. Let's do it. Ken has been asking a lot, bro. Somebody
you're good, man. Ask away.
Charlie, J-Ra. I feel like J-Ra's at a point right now, like she reminds me of me. She's like, look, I know what I gotta do, and I'm just doing it, and I'm just focused on doing it. Jayra's a beast. I ain't gonna lie. Jayra's a
Yep.
beast. Every like out of every 100 students I get, there's like that one student. Like there's different reasons people come in here. Some people come for the knowledge. Some people come for the community. Other people just come for the accountability or whatever. And then some people come in here to win. And like they want to build a business. And when they do that, like yeah, like Caleb was one. I think Jay was one. I believe Jasmine is one. She hasn't been in here long enough, and I believe Charlie's one. He hasn't been in. They haven't been here long enough. But like the proof is in the pudding. Like she's like, yeah, this is great knowledge, but as soon as this is done, I got to go hit my KPIs.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Well, anybody that's here is a winner. You know what I mean? That means you're trying to improve, you're trying to grow. You just having knowing that you to do that. You know what I mean? Like I didn't know about any of this stuff when I was early 20s, like until I was like 25, 26, I did learn about like just becoming better as a person and growing. Like I had I didn't even know that existed. So that just that you guys are here, like you're on the right path. You know, you guys are definitely gonna make it. So
Hey Tyler, so what do your KPIs look like for daily for your team?
yeah, good question. Good question. So we kind of just tore everything apart and rebuilt it. But very similar to what we had before. We have some baseline KPIs. You have to hit them, or you're not going to be in a closer role anymore. I have.
So what does that look like? Like those you got to do this like
yeah,
every day.
30. It's 30. So we have a set of cold callers that send in leads every day. We get leads from a couple other sources too. We get referrals. Just yesterday, I had 3 or 4 JV deals come in. Not deals, but leads, I should say. None of them were actually deals. But we still make offers on those. So we do get some referrals. I'd say the bulk of our leads are from cold calling. 80%. 80% of everything we do is from cold calling. So that builds that pipeline up. I've built a pipeline of leads over the years, to be honest. You know, like as you start building that pipeline, and sometimes I'll just recycle them. You know, I'll run them through batch leads real quick. I'll delete everybody that sold recently, and then I'll get them back. So it's like I was like, all right, work these leads. But our bare minimum is $30 a day, 2 hours, 2 to 3 hours talk time, and 2 offers. So mine's lower than Eric Klein's, but I think it's good because it gives them consistency. It gives them like, you know, as long as they're doing that, I know they're going to bring in like 2 deals a month, minimum. You know, so it's stay at these numbers, you know, every day. We have
2 hours a day is what you require from your cold caller.
Talk time.
2 to 3 hours talk time on the phone with sellers.
Yeah, not just dialing, not just sitting at the computer.
No,
so I'm doing, and the reason why I'm asking is because I'm on batch dialer. I've been on it for about 3 weeks, almost a month now. And you know, sometimes you get, you don't get out, all the data is not A1, we'll say that,
Yeah.
And so, and it sucks, man. Like I hate it. Like I hate cold calls.
He's the cold
Yeah.
caller. He's the cold caller. And I told him, like, I was like, that's what that dude told you to do? Buy a
Like
guy
I am
for a
like
call?
it's, I hate it, but I'm doing it now. The market I'm in is in a rural area in Georgia. But
where you at in Georgia?
LaGrange.
Okay. I just did a deal in not that long ago in Macon, Georgia.
And that's
not far from LaGrange. Yeah, it's not too
Okay.
far from LaGrange, I don't think.
My T lives in Georgia too. She actually lives in Macon, Georgia.
Really? Yeah, I have an aunt in Lithonia, and she was telling me about, hey nephew, I seen a bunch of houses, and she sends me stuff all the time. But anyway, that's another story. But it's just kind of like sitting at the phone in front of the computer for a couple hours, and then I might talk to a handful of people, like literally, handful of people. Everybody else is hanging up, or why you calling me, or don't call me no more, all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, no, the 2 to 3 hours talk time is like with leads that already came in from the cold callers and raised their hand and been through the script, you know, so.
Gotcha.
So,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I mean, and you can really set that with your cold caller, like only send leads in that have the 4 pillars. We go off the 4 pillars for our cold callers, you know, price, motivation, timeline, reason for selling. And you know, as long as they have those, I don't always care about the price. I'm actually about to tell Rez to stop putting the price in there because the acquisition reps like to look at price and like, oh, they're not motivated the price. But
Right.
what you'll find is the price doesn't matter. Just put them through the process. Um, you know, I had a lead come in. They said it was a cold lead. The price was skyrocket, and most people would say, "Oh, that's not a deal." My acquisition rep actually said, "Oh, it's probably not a deal." I'm like, just put them through the process. Ended up being a $40,000 novation deal. You know, so I mean, they're all, you know, it's just putting in the work through the process. And when I say 2 to 4 hours talk time, it's with those leads that are coming in from the cold callers. Um, you know, but I am spending about 1,200 a month per caller. So, you know, that I
For a
think
cold caller?
that's with the dialer, the caller, the lit.
Oh, right.
That's
the whole
everything.
system.
The
The whole
whole,
system.
I don't even know what dialer they use. I just send them 30,000 phone numbers a month to dial. So I, you know, skip trace. I use kind skip, by the way. It's 3 cents skip. And then I clean that data using a very kind of crazy, weird process that I'm not going to get too deep into it, but we can talk about that on another call. I like to clean up. I like to get all the inactive phone numbers because there's a bunch of that in there. I don't know how much that really helps,
Wait, yeah, it does.
but
Hold on. So you use kind
okay,
skip
y'all,
tracing
you want a deep dive?
just a little
Yeah,
bit.
let's deep dive.
Hold on,
Yeah,
just a little bit.
absolutely.
Because I wanna say something about Ken's situation, but for me, so you use kind skip tracing, and then you said you use something to clean that data up. What is that? What do you mean?
I use a very, I don't think anybody probably uses it. It's
Perfect.
kind of a weird little hack that I found.
Perfect.
You ever heard of Sly Broadcast?
Is that what it's called?
Yeah, Sly Broadcast is a
SLY.
app. It's a website. You can do ringless voicemails from it. I don't do ringless voicemails, by the way, but you could send ringless mails out from Sly Broadcast.
Hold on. SLYBRA.
Broad
How do you spell broad? O.
S
How do you spell broad?
broadcast like a broadcast.
How do you spell that?
So SLYBROADCAST. Sly Broadcast.
.com.
Yeah, .com. And it's so you have to buy a little bit of credit. It's not much. It's like depends on what package you buy, but basically once you buy the credits, you're good. You don't have to ever buy them again. And what I used to use it for ringless voicemail. I do ringless mail, and so I use the system a good bit. But I found a little thing inside of this. Whenever you upload a list and you schedule it, so now what we'll do is we'll put a list in there of like 10,000 records, and I'll schedule it like for whenever in the future, like a month out. What it does is it tells me the carrier for each phone number. And just from doing so many ringless voicemails, I found that only 5 carriers actually work. The other ones never ever work. And it's like AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile. I have a list of all the carriers that actually like work 90% of the time. Like the phone number actually works, and a lot of times it's the right number. And what you find is skip trace through this. Only 20% of the phone numbers actually work. The other 80%, they're all bad numbers. They don't even work. You're wasting your time dialing.
My fucking money.
Yeah. So
Wait, hold on.
think about that. If you're paying callers per dial, I'm saving 80% of my cost because I just eliminate 80% of the phone numbers that don't work.
So you get a list from wherever you get your list from, and then you put it in a Sly Broadcast, and something within Sly Broadcast tells you the carrier of each number, and if it's not,
Hey,
if it's
can I
not,
share my screen?
well, hold on, I just want to write this down. So you're saying if it's not a certain carrier, you delete that number and delete that lead? Or do you
delete it.
Or do you delete the number, not the lead?
Delete. No. So what you'll find is a lot of leads, one address will have 10, 5 numbers, 10 numbers, whatever.
Right.
Most of the time, only one of those numbers, one or two of those numbers is going to work.
Oh, so yeah, so when you pull a list and you get a skip trace, you have column phone 1, then you have phone 2, phone 3, and it gets less and less as it goes down. But you're saying you still look at all like 4 columns and see which one has the carriers?
Yeah. So
what
we
if phone
just
column
throw all the numbers in there.
So what if a lead in phone column 1 is not the right carrier, but it's in the 4th column? You
Did not have it. Oh,
you
yeah.
keep that?
That's the one we're calling.
All right.
Yeah.
And then what are the carriers? So you want AT&T.
Yeah. I'll tell you right now. Hold on. This is some deep hacks right here.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let me get you the carriers right now. It is going to be Singular Wireless, Metro PCS,
Wireless,
Sprint,
Metro, PCS,
yeah,
Sprint,
T-Mobile, Verizon Wireless. Verizon. And Singular Wireless is, I believe that's just AT&T.
So if it's not 1,
Um,
2, 3, 4, 5, if it's not 6 of those, you drop it.
Yes, 6. I just delete it. And a lot of skip trace aren't going to show you the the carrier. So that's why I use this system. It is a little bit of a process to put it through, but I think it's well worth it. You know, you put all your numbers in there. You can only put the phone numbers. You export the data. It'll have the phone number and the carrier next to it. You delete all the carriers you don't want, and then you gotta merge the data back together. It's called a VLOOKUP. Yeah, it's kind of a process to get this data back in.
So
But
VLOOKUP is what?
so a VLOOKUP in Excel is basically you have a phone number and you have the data set that you originally had with all the numbers, right? But so you have 2 data sets now. You have one the correct phone number, the carriers, the correct carriers, but it doesn't have any other data. You don't have the name, the address, or any of that yet. So you need to take this data set and merge it and do a VLOOKUP. So you're looking up this phone number in this data set and pulling all the data, the name, the address, all the information you need to call that seller. I only pull in the name, the property address, and the city, state, zip. That's
Okay,
it
but
in the phone.
it's a formula that you could do in Excel. You don't manually connect them all.
No, it's a VLOOKUP formula. Yeah, that's the formula, VLOOKUP. And if you put equal VLOOKUP on Excel, the formula will pop up. And there's a YouTube video on how to do it. It's once you learn it once, I mean, you got it. But that'll pull in the data. Now you just eliminated 8% of your list, and it's going to save you a ton of time on cold calling. If you're cold calling yourself, you're going to get 1 out of $25 should be a lead now.
Damn, I do texting. Match
Okay.
the good numbers.
Yeah, so like it's good that you can text that list too now, and you're going to get a better conversion. I give that list to my cold callers, and they convert better. A lot of call centers or a lot of cold callers will be like, dude, your data is good. Like, how are you getting? Like, I'm getting with my cold callers. I think I'm getting 1 lead every $100 or something like that. When I was doing it in house, I was getting 1 lead every $75 to $100. That's dials, and that was 1 lead fully filled out,
And even that's
but I was getting 1 out of 5 leads dialing myself, but I would say I probably convert a little better, and I probably converted leads that, sent leads in that probably could, if they're on the phone with a cold caller in Egypt and they go through a 5-10 minute call, like that's a good lead.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier for me to convert a lead, you know what I mean? Because I'm just local, whatever. So I hope that helps a little bit. I know it is a little bit of a process. And I mean, I do have a virtual assistant now that does all that for me. I don't do any of that, but trust me, before I cold called my own list, I was putting it through that process every single time.
Damn, free game. Now we're gonna get on the phone because bro, if you need me to pay you for a consultation call and have you walk me through that, I will, but
Yes, sir. Let's do it, man. I got, you don't have to pay me anything, by the way, but I just love serving, giving value and helping any way I can because that's, like I said, collaboration over competition. And that's how I started. Someone else held my hand and helped me get to where I am today. And I'd like to do the same for others.
Okay, before we go, I want the people who didn't say anything to ask something, get some sort of value, uh, especially you guys being in the position that you're in, being beginners, you know?
How
Come on,
long
Charlie.
did
Let's go. Come on, Charlie.
Right now.
Go ahead, J-Ro.
how long did it take you to close your first deal?
It took me six months time I learned about wholesaling to actually closing. 3 months of that was me in action, analysis paralysis, education mode, shiny object syndrome. Is this what I want to do? 3 months of that, and then 3 months of me taking action. And honestly, no sales skills, no sales background, no nothing, just winging it, no script, nothing. I probably would have closed more deals if I would have had Eric Klein's script, honestly, in the beginning.
Yeah.
And if I knew how to use it too. That sales is just an ever growing, you're never going to stop learning that. Just make sure you're learning a little bit every day.
Yeah, and that's with no mentor. I guarantee a deal in 90 days or less. I only say 90 days is the absolute max. Nobody who's ever done this has ever taken 90 days, but that's why I can guarantee.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I was 90 days with no mentor, no nothing. Once I started taking action.
Yeah.
Right. So that it's all about the action. It's all about progress, not perfection. That's still one of my core values with me and my team, by the way. Still to this day is progress, not perfection. It's on my mirror along with my goals. If you're not writing your goals on your mirror, I got that from Eric Klein, by the way.
Yeah.
Write your goals on the mirror. Man, that's super powerful. I like to write health, wealth, love, and happiness. I also added cash flow on there. I have a cash flow goal and decrease expenses and increase cash flow. That's another goal. But health, wealth, love, happiness. I like to write those four on my mirror, and next to each one, it's like a little column, right? Health, I'll have a goal. Wealth, 100 grand a month in revenue. And sometimes I even have little check boxes of what I have to do. So I see that every single day. If you're seeing your goals every single day, it's part of the vision, right? I mean, back to Ken, it's like your wife, they're going to see that on your mirror. So you're relaying the vision that way too. Like, not only are you talking about, they're seeing it every day on the mirror. And I think that's game changer right there is having writing your goals down, putting them on the mirror, break it down by sections too. Another one of mine, my love goal is not only spending like an hour of quality time with my kids every day, but two date nights a month with the old lady, right? It's like she sees that on the mirror now too. Not only am I only focusing on myself, well, I say myself, but the wealth goal is for all of us. But it could look like, hey, that's all about you. So as long as you have a little bit of that balance in there too, two date nights a month. I got a date night tonight actually. We're going to an escape room and then we're going out to dinner. We're super easy, simple, but that's in my calendar as that's a habit that I have that I got from Atomic Habits. Plan date night. It pops up on my calendar twice a month, and I take that 30-minute time block to figure out a date night for us to do something. Right. So she sees I'm working on my relationship. I'm working on my health. I'm working on my business, and I'm working on my happiness too. Like everybody should maybe you have a hobby or something like you want to schedule time to do things that you enjoy too. So that's all. Health, wealth, love, and happiness. Set goals, put them on the mirror. Action step after this call. Go to the mirror, grab a Sharpie, and write health, wealth, love, happiness, and write a simple, easy goal next to each one that a habit could be built out of each goal. Like, and put a number next to it. 2 date nights per month, $50,000 in revenue. See how I have a number in front of each goal? 1 hour of quality time with the family per day, usually around dinner time. And then what's the other one? My happiness goal right now is just to read more. So that's really simple. Read a book like every month.
I know you
One
want
book
to
a
go
month.
because you are. I know you stick to your schedule. Charlie, did you want to ask your question really quick before he goes, before we end the meeting?
Nah, I'm good.
Jasmine, I mean, fuck it, opportunity, one last question.
What like changes do you see in the upcoming future for like wholesaling and real estate?
That's a good question. That's a really good question because I've been kind of deep diving out. I'm sure everybody's been seeing the YouTube videos floating around about the changes in wholesaling, and really it's just adapting to the changes as they come. And us as visionaries, we have to see that in the future. And I've always saw that it could happen before all this. I always knew that it could possibly become illegal or whatever. And really it's just adapting. So one of my quarter 4, which is coming up, or maybe it's quarter 4 goal is to raise $200,000 in capital from private money, because I want to start raising money. Because if we do have to, if wholesaling does become illegal, or we're not able to do it like we used to, we're going to need to wholesale these deals. Probably we're going to have to take them down. Like there's probably going to be no way around it in the future. I'm not really worried about it too much right now. I'm going to continue to wholesale and build my business and build that marketing machine. All this is a marketing and sales machine. That's all it is. It's not real estate. It's high ticket sales. That's what this is. So get really good at sales. It's a little side note. This is just high ticket sales. I tell everybody I hire, you're not in a real estate position. You're in a high ticket sales role. So, you better be good at sales if you're doing this. But just raising private capital, working on that. I have a book I'm reading about it right now. It's from Bigger Pockets, has a forward, but Pace Morby, I think, has a part of that book or something. But reading that, and I'm going to be reading that next month and learning how to raise private capital, so we can start wholesaling more if we need to, and really focusing on novations too, on a nationwide scale. We're starting to focus more on novations, because I don't know if they would be able to make that illegal. I'm not sure, because the sellers are literally giving us power of attorney.
Yeah, right.
We're getting that notarized, and they're allowing us to list the property on our behalf. By the way, I disclose, with the sellers, they know what you're making on a wholesale. They know you're making 30 grand. So back to sales, you better be good at selling speed and convenience, because that's what we're selling here. With wholesale and with novations, we're selling speed and convenience. That's the value we bring to the sellers. I really wish I could have brought my acquisition manager on, TJ.
Boy, TJ,
He would.
TJ is a.
You want to throw him in?
I mean, yeah.
Y'all
Yeah,
gotta go. I know we've been on for a long time.
Are you talking about right now?
I got a question.
Were you? I was saying, were you
You got
talking about right
what
now?
book do you recommend us about sales? So we can improve our sales skills.
I mean,
That's a good.
we're reading Jordan Belford.
Yeah. I think this book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, helped me a lot with sales. This was my first introduction to any type of sales. Just following principles. I know it's kind of a older book, but it's one of the OGs.
I think the best. I think the best books for sales are the classics, like, and you know this. Never Split the Difference. That is by far one of the best books.
I don't know why I didn't think of that one.
How to Win Friends and Influence People. Those are good. But really, when it comes down to sales, guys, really it's about reading shit like this and the one thing by Gary Keller. That way you just know how to focus, and just when you focus and do the work, watch the YouTube videos and just implement and practice. That's what sales is. It's just a skill. It's not something you could read how to ride a bike, but you're not going to learn how to ride a bike until you start riding it. So I think as far as sales,
That's a good one too.
I think as far as sales, we'll read like some sales books, but really it's the shit we need to read is like, Atomic Habits, The One Thing, or Deep Work. But bro, I appreciate.
Yeah, sales is one of those skills you're going to continue to grow, like you said. It's just you're never going to stop learning that skill in this role, in this business, or in any business. Yeah. No, friends and influence people. What's the other one you said? Never Split the Difference. That's a good one. I read that one. You know, it's just, you really got to study it though. Like you can't just read that. Like you got to study that book. That book took me 2 months to read. Like highlights, writing stuff down, like really studying that book, not just casually reading it. And I'm taking notes and like trying to figure this stuff out, mirroring like all the tools and tactics and implementing them too. Like, you know, that's a big part of it.
That's right.
Actually using the things you're learning.
Yeah. Yeah. Tyler, bro, I super appreciate you showing up. If you did want to bring Tyler in here, I know tomorrow's Sunday, whatever day works for him, I feel like that would be awesome. Cause I mean, yeah, TJ, right? He's a
Yeah,
he's a
TJ.
killer, bro. He's a killer on the phone. Like he is Tyler's closer. So whenever, just text me, let me know. Also, if they want to follow you on Instagram, or how do you want them to reach you? Facebook, what's the best way to reach you if they want to, whatever?
Yeah. I'm not big on social media, y'all. I'm not posting a whole bunch. You can follow my business page though, 504 Homebuyers on Instagram. I don't use Facebook. I have it. I don't use it. All the stuff that's on my Instagram, I think a VA helped me post most of that. I don't like social media, y'all. I got off of it a couple of years ago and I just don't use it at all. Which I know is probably not a good thing. I should probably be using it to help build the business and stuff, but it's just one of those things I need to get to eventually.
But if they want to reach out to
But yeah,
you,
504 Home Buyers, Instagram, you can just Google it up and I'm sure it'll pop up there.
I'm gonna leave it in the student chat. We appreciate you, Tyler. Thank you, brother.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Y'all go crush it and have a good extended weekend.
Absolutely. Everybody else stay on.
All right.
Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we'll hop on another call with my acquisition manager and implement an integrator, TJ. He can bring you some really good value from the trenches. You know, he's in it. So he's got some nuggets for y'all.
All right. Tyler.
Absolutely.
Everybody
Yes,
else
sir.
stay on. Tyler. Peace.
Peace out.
Okay, well, everybody left anyways.
Hey, this one I think is the best person you have ever brought to this group. Like from all the people that you bring to give us like mentorship.
Yeah, he's very
Yeah, this guy drop value, bro.
very nice.
Yeah, facts.
Like,
Bro, that tip he gave on the on kind skip tracing, because I was cold calling before this, and I had like a 10,000 phone number list, bro. I called like, I don't even know, like 8,000. I'm pretty sure. It took me like 2 months, bro, and I had no leads, bro.
Hold on, let me end
Like
this
it was
video real quick.
crazy.
If y'all like this video,
crazy.
like, comment, subscribe. You know what to do. If you want to become a student and join these Discord meetings, just make sure to DM me on Instagram. If you want my free wholesaling scripts, or if you want the contract I use to wholesale real estate, just DM me on Instagram. I'll give it to you for free. Peace, y'all.